What's going on, everybody? The original Mako back with some more Gunfire Reborn content, and today we have a video, probably the last video before the new update. My guess is it's releasing tomorrow at the time this video goes up, so hopefully this is the last video before that new update comes out. I'm really excited. I hope you guys are excited. If you are, be sure to hit that subscribe button because there is going to be tons of videos covering all of the new content right on this channel, so you're going to want to be subbed for that. And then also check out the twitch.tv/theoriginalmako because I'm going to be live streaming some of the new content for sure, testing out the new character, trying new synergies, all that different type of stuff that's going to be going on with the new updates. So you're going to want to check that out. And my YouTube and second YouTube channel and Discord are also in the description as well. So we're going to be looking at the top Ascensions for every character today, or my three favorite Ascensions for each character, the ones that I think when you get these and you're trying to build a run around them, it's the most fun you can have with the character. So yeah, let's just go ahead and hop into it here. First, we're going to be looking at our dear friend, Crown Prince, because probably my least favorite, or my least played character, but I will say there are some Ascensions that make this character fun, that are very unique, and the only reason I enjoyed playing this character. You guys probably know where I'm going with this. If you watch my videos before, the only videos I have on this channel of the Crown Prince are either a lot of damage in one shot or my Dual Fang runs. Why the Dual Fang runs? Well, let's look at number 3. And it's I'm just gonna group all of these together because they're all the same thing essentially. I guess they're not really the same thing, but these three, the elemental upgrades are number 3 on the list for me. Doing an elemental run, specifically Power Dominance and Acid Dominance with the Dual Fang, are my favorite type of runs with elements. So, but these three are obviously very unique to the cat and are very, very good and make doing elemental runs a ton of fun, as well as some other inscriptions over here. I mean, this whole tree is all about elements, right? But these three specifically, the increased damage is incredible. The 50% lucky shot chance, the first crit on an enemy creating a smoke, like a smoke grenade, and doubling burning and explosion effects is just so fun and so good and just amazing to mess around with especially like a Dual Fang. Hopefully, I'm guessing there's going to be some sort of sniper released in this next update that's lightning, so maybe Electro Dominance could get some time in the sun. That being said, number 2 on my list, that was number 3, number 2 on my list is Energy Blade. Okay, Energy Blade, because this is something that's so unique to the cat. Like, you can do so much damage in one shot. This is basically the only thing that makes snipers worth using in runs, like a Piercing Flame, a Double Cow, a Rainbow Arch, the right click. All of those things get infinitely better with Energy Blade, especially if you get like extra charges on your orb, so you're proccing it more often. You're going to be one-shotting a lot of things. Like 500% weapon damage on the next hit is so much fun. Just to watch those damage numbers come out is so much fun and really exciting. And that's why I have that as my number 2 on the cat. Number 1. And this is something that actually wasn't, some of you might not know this, but when I first started playing the game, this wasn't even in the game. This Ascension was non-existent. They put it in to buff the cat because they felt the cat was underplayed and underused, and frankly, it was a very, very good addition because it's, I think, the best Ascension that the cat has to offer. Hex Smoke. At number 1, enemies affected by your grenade will deal minus 50% damage and take plus 20% damage for 6 seconds. Even just tier 1 of this is so good. You do more damage and you're taking less damage. It's a 2-for-1 that is just good in every situation. So, not to mention if you get to tier 3, it's your grenade, or enemies affected by your grenade will deal minus 70% damage and take extra damage for 20 seconds. Is so good. Like this, for bosses, for normal enemies, it doesn't matter. It's just, it's good. It's so good for the cat, so good for runs. And I should also mention, you know, I'm basing all of this off of single player because I don't play a lot of co-op. So all of these are based off of using these characters in single player. But this is, I think, in multiplayer, co-op, single player, it doesn't matter either way. This Ascension is the best Ascension. My favorite Ascension for the cat. That being said, let's go ahead and move on to the old dog bear guy, Crown Prince, or Albi. So, this one is definitely gonna be obvious if you guys have been watching the channel recently. I am a humongous fan of explosions right now. Explosion runs are like my home, where I belong. And very recently, it's been double Tiger Cannon runs. And, oh man, I'm loving them so much. So this is going to be pretty obvious, probably. Number 3, explosion enhancement. AoE goes up and explosion damage goes up, and it scales for each level. AoE is one of the biggest parts about the more enemies you're hitting with your explosion, the better you're going to be, and the more damage you're doing, the better you're going to be. So this covers both of those things. And it doesn't matter what explosive weapon you're using, even just getting tier 1 and having an extra 2 meters of AoE and 30% damage makes an explosive run infinitely better. Makes it so much better. Mainly because of the AoE. That's the big part about this one, is the AoE on it. But if you get it to tier 3, it's just going to be wiping rooms like crazy. Number 2, as we go up, is right below it at Mad Bomber. So this one is just explosion damage, and then you gain immunity. The reason this is number 2 is because of the tier 3. 30% chance to deal double damage once you're at tier 3. So your explosions, if you're doing an explosive run, have a 30% chance to deal double damage. Just double it. Explosions are already doing a ton of damage, so doubling it is just unreal. So much damage. It's kind of like Energy Blade on the cat, where you see these damage numbers that just don't even seem real. Like, it's just so good. It doesn't matter. You could have really bad inscriptions on a weapon. It doesn't matter. This Ascension will make your damage just through the roof on explosions. So that's why this is number 2 on my list. It's just so much fun to use. Not to mention you get the immunity to explosion damage, so you can't blow yourself up, which is nice. Number 1. Now, the dog does have a few other really good Ascensions. I mean, there's a lot of good ones over here. There's battle tested. There's a lot of good defensive ones as well. And there's another explosion one here, Precise Explosion, but that's not number 1. Number 1 by a country mile. I don't really get that. You know, I don't get that saying. I mean, a country mile is the same as a city mile, right? In fact, I feel like going a mile in the city is probably harder and takes longer than it does in the country. So it's like would probably feel longer in this. Anyways, country mile sayings aside, if anybody knows why they say that, let me know. Sustained fire is number 1. After killing an enemy or destroying an item, weapon damage and explosion damage plus 50% for 6 seconds. So this is a no-brainer to me, because I mean, you're probably going to be killing things every 6 seconds more often than not. And then if you get to tier 3, you just have to kill something every 20 seconds or destroy an item. So you can proc this pretty consistently. But if you notice, at tier 1, it gives plus 50 for weapon damage and explosion damage. Even these explosive synergies, all of them, like these two give plus 30, and this one gives plus 50, but that's only if you're dealing damage to one enemy. This gives just a flat 50, no holds barred. Just there's no other things, no secret drawbacks. It just gives you plus 50% damage for 6 seconds for your weapon. And so even if you're not doing an explosive run, this is just good on every type of dog run. These are very specific to certain runs. That's why they're my favorite. They're not necessarily the best, but they're my favorite. But this is, I think, my favorite and just the best Ascension for the dog, because it's good for whatever you're trying to do. Not to mention the tier 3 is 100% weapon and explosion damage for 20 seconds, which is just unreal. 20 seconds is a long time. You will almost certainly have this procced the entire game. I mean, even if you're in a boss room, there's things to break. There's sometimes enemies, they spawn. Like, it's just, yeah, it's unbelievable. So, Sustained Fire, definitely number 1 for me. And now, on to the Birdman here. And this was a little bit more interesting. Tier 1, I think, is clear-cut for me, or the number 1, but the other 2 were kind of hard to find because, frankly, the Bird's Ascensions aren't that wild for the most part. I mean, there's some that are really good, but not... I think the Ascensions are almost better on the other 2 characters for that character. Like, they're more fun, more exciting, but these ones are just so good and polished and just make the character very good. But that being said, there are some fun ones that I've enjoyed. Number 3 is going to be Easy Kill. When this character first came out, the first thing I did when looking at skills and Ascensions and stuff was say, okay, I need to see how much damage I can do in a cleave. So I would spend time trying to figure out how can I do this, what's the best way to do this, and then I realized, oh, I can farm beetles in the Queen Beetle room with Easy Kill. That's the way I'm going to do this. So I've done a few runs, they're on the channel, of doing crazy damage with 1 cleave. You can essentially do infinite damage, it just depends on how patient you are in the beetle room or in other rooms that spawn enemies consistently. So it's not like it's a huge feat, but it was still a ton of fun to do. Cleave runs were really good. I mean, you pair this with Fierce Wings, and all of a sudden you're doing just a ton of damage. But this one was the first Ascension I looked at on this character and thought, okay, this is my first build I'm going to try using Ascensions. So, Easy Kill, number 3 for me. A lot of fun. I mean, I'm not as into doing cleave runs anymore because they scale so bad. Like, you have to get Easy Kill in the first 2 chests. You have to get at least a tier or 2 of Fierce Wings. You have to have max cleave. Like, there's a lot of things that you have to get to go into it. And the fact that you have to have Easy Kill, like, even if you get Fierce Wings tier 3 or max cleave tier 3 or within range, whatever within range is tier 3, you have to have this or it just doesn't work. So it's fun and I enjoy it, but it's a little bit restrictive. That's why it's number 3. Number 2 on my list is Hail of Bullets. This is one that I think is very unique to the Bird because it takes weapons that have a very low amount of ammo in the mag, like a Wild Hunt, a Tiger Cannon, weapons like that their drawback is they do a lot of damage, but you have to be constantly reloading, and makes it so you don't have to be constantly reloading. Even the first tier, consume no ammo for the first 3 shots after reload. I mean, think about that. You just get an extra 3 shots in the Tiger Cannon that normally has 1, or an extra 3 shots in the Wild Hunt that normally only has 2. If you have good inscriptions, if those weapons are doing a ton of damage and their only drawback is the reload, this makes those weapons infinitely better. Plus, you get extra damage and lucky shot chance for those extra shots. So you're going to be doing just a ton of extra damage in the first place. So it's like, this just gives so, and there's weapons like the big hippo or scalpel or other fast firing weapons that have a lot of ammo in the mag. This obviously doesn't work pretty much. I mean, it works, but it's not good. But for those weapons, Tiger Cannon, Wild Hunt, those are the ones I'm thinking of right now. I think those are two of the bigger ones. I don't know what else would work, but Hail of Bullets is a ton of fun for those kind of weapons. It's like a pseudo advanced depot or against the flow that just gives you extra benefits on top of it. So that's why Halo Bullets is number 2. I think it's a lot of fun. Once again, it's pretty specific though, which is why once again all these bird ones aren't as exciting as some of the other ones. But I mean, the bird is still my favorite character, and I think the best character. But Halo Bullets is my second favorite. My first favorite, and I think is by not even a country mile, by like a couple hundred country miles, is the best Ascension on the bird, is 100% Nova release. This Ascension has single-handedly won me runs before. Nova release is so good. So per enemy killed, max armor plus 5 for 6 seconds. When you get a kill, the time resets. So unless you don't kill something for 6 seconds, that armor's permanent. The more enemies you kill, the more armor you get. And then as the tiers go up, per enemy killed, max armor plus 10 for 7 seconds. And then level 3 is max armor plus 15 for 8 seconds for each kill. And when your armor's broken, you cast a Nova that damages surrounding enemy, and you get the skill damage boosts that you have. Even at tier 1, this is just good. You're just getting extra armor, which means you're less likely to die. The whole point of the bird and his armor is that he's easy to stay alive because you can always get his armor back with his leap. So having something that makes him even harder to kill kind of makes sense. But at tier 3, I mean, 8 seconds is a long time. It's not obviously as good as having sustained fire every 20 seconds, right? But you can kill things every 8 seconds pretty consistently throughout your run. Not to mention for the final boss, the cannonballs count as enemies. The little squids things, the things that do the corrosive damage, counts as enemies. You can get a lot done with this Ascension. In my most recent video, I farmed it, but I had over 2,000 armor at once because of Nova release. You can get to the point where you don't even have to be dodging things because they're not going to do enough damage to kill you. They just won't do it. They just can't. So Nova release, I think, any run where I see it, I'm picking it up immediately, trying to get it to tier 3. Because getting plus 15 armor for every kill is not a joke. Like, it's just so good. So that's my number 1 for the bird. You better believe when the new character comes out, I'll add him and do one that has some of his in there too. But I'm really excited for it. Let me know in the comments, if you make it all the way to the end here, what animal you think the new character is going to be. My original guess was that the update was going to be out today, but there's some things they've posted that makes me think it's going to be tomorrow. It might be late tomorrow. That being said, though, this should be the last video before the new update content starts dropping, so make sure you're subbed to the channel. I know you guys will enjoy that kind of video, or those videos on the new stuff, so get excited, get ready. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I love each and every one of your faces, and I will catch you guys in the next video.